Alright, hello guys, Salt here. Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be going over the Kuva Stug, or not the Kuva Stug, it should have a Kuva, but the regular Stug. Now in this video series I take a weapon and I build it out and I test that weapon on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any kind of Warframe abilities, pets doing statuses, pet mods that increase weapon damage. I just test the weapon on its own merits. Now recently I hit 100 subscribers, and that's why I'm doing this video, because in this series I had said that I was not going to do a weapon that was not steel path viable. Like I'll do weak weapons, but there are a few weapons in the game that are so weak that they're not steel path viable, and the Stug is one of them. But I thought it would be fun as like a 100 subscriber video, so that's why we're doing it today. So the Stug is a secondary weapon. It shoots out these globs, and the globs will deal 2 instances of tick damage that are very, very poor damage, and then it will blow up after about, I think it's like a second or a second and a half, it'll blow up. And the explosion deals okay damage. It deals respectable damage, the explosion, but the ticks don't really do much damage. The weapon also has corrosive on it innately. That's another thing about it. The other interesting thing about the Stug is the datasheet is all messed up here. So it says it has 0 status. It actually has 10% status when it explodes. And I think from what I was looking, it said the critical chance was, for a while, said 0, and I think they fixed that where it's now at 5%, where it actually is. But they have not fixed the status here yet. So now it does have a very high Riven disposition, so if you got a Riven, you can make this a lot stronger. So it has a unique trait where the primary fire shoots blobs that can combine up to 10 times, increasing damage, and that's going to help a bit. I mean, you need everything to help this weapon. And it also has an alternate fire that like shoots larger blobs, but the problem with that alternate fire is that it's not affected by multi-shot like the same way as the primary fire. So we're not going to be using the alternate fire on this. Okay, so we get into the mods here. We're going to be going for Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Hornet Strike for flat damage, Magnum Force for flat damage, Primed Expel Grenier for multiplicative damage. For anyone that doesn't know, I call all of them Bane mods. I think only like the rifle versions are called Banes, but like the Banes, Expel, Cleanse, all those mods are multiplicative damage. So they get calculated like at the end of the equation. They kind of act like Roar, like Rhino's Roar. So, 1.55, I think that's like 55% damage, is actually going to be a lot stronger than like Hornet Strikes, like plus 220% damage, and that's because it's flat. Like this is flat damage, this is multiplicative. Now, I normally don't like Bane mods, but this weapon needs every single thing on it for it to possibly do still poorly. Okay. Lethal Torrent is going to be fire rate multi-shot. I'm going to go with Pistol Pestilence and Primed Convulsion for corrosive. Now this weapon already has corrosive, and so that might be something that people are wondering, and I'll go over that at the end. I'm going to go with Primed Heated Charge for heat, and then I'm going to go with Lethal Momentum for projectile speed. Now this Exilis slot here probably should be something else. Let me show you here. I have 8 forma into this Stug, and I was doing testing, so some of this is misformat. I had to change formas, and when I got this is pretty much exactly how I want the build, except hey Micaeus. This is pretty much exactly how I want the build, except for the Exilis. So this weapon takes so long to kill enemies, and you're going through so much ammo to kill enemies that you probably actually should either be using ammo maximum with Trick Mag, or probably more likely primed pistol ammo mutation. Now, lethal momentum is going to feel better because like the actual projectile speed of these bullets are horrible. Absolutely horrible. So lethal momentum will feel better. But when we get into the video, you'll see that I'm using so much ammo to kill a single enemy that it probably was better to pick primed pistol ammo mutation or Trick Mag. So just keep that in mind. I just did not want to go up to a 9 form of Stug, so that's my reasoning for not using it. But now, in the Arcane, we're going to be using Secondary Merciless. So it's going to increase our reload speed, and it's going to give us more flat damage for 360% flat damage. Okay, now to go back over this here. So the weapon already has corrosive. Why am I putting more corrosive on it? Well, I'm putting more corrosive on it because they recently came with a new mod called Primed Convulsion. This is like a new mod that just came out like a month ago or less. And again, this weapon needs all the help it has, so or all the help it can get. So I had Viral here at first. I had Viral here. And the problem with this weapon is it produces such low statuses, you could like go through 2 entire magazines and get like 1 viral proc. And so like it wasn't really worth having viral on it. Like yeah, viral is a strong status if you can get the status, but I couldn't get the status. And so when they came out with Primed Convulsion, I was like, damn, that's just a big stupid prime mod that'll increase just flat damage. So that's what I did. I just put more corrosive on it to get a bigger flat damage buff from Prime Convulsion. I mean, I guess technically you could say I could put the 90 toxin on here as well, but again, I don't want to forma it up to 9 forma, so that's my reasoning for having the 60-60. Okay, so in this video, we don't like to mix anything, so because of that, we're going to be using a Naros Prime with no Archon shards. No mods that affect weapon damage. No arcanes that affect weapon damage. Pet with no sentinel weapon, and no mods on the sentinel that affect weapon damage. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a 10-minute Kuva, or we're going to try to do a 10-minute Kuva survival. And in fact, you know what? I'll go up to as long as I can go up to. But I'm probably going to run out of air at about 10 minutes. Yeah, it probably will be a little bit painful. I did a little bit of testing. It is painful, but it actually kills okay. But I did not test it against the Acolyte. Every time I went in to do testing, I just did like a quick 2 or 3 minute test, like in Kuva survival, and you know, I would kill some trash, and I'd be like, okay, you know, this is better, this is worse, like for the mods, and then I would dip out. But I didn't stay long enough to fight the Acolyte, so I guess we'll see how it does against there. Now, Corrosive is actually really good against the Acolyte, but I don't think this weapon's going to be strong enough, even with Corrosive, to do anything. We're still going to bring our melee weapon just because there is one Acolyte that puts Zephyr's Turbulence on himself. And if they do that, I can't shoot him to death. I have to melee him. So that's why I'm going to bring my melee. All right. So let's get into the Kuva Survival. Now, for this video, I am not going to be doing the Lua Conjunction that I normally do after Kuva Survival, just because there's no point. It will fail at 5 minutes. There's no chance that this gets past that 5 minutes on Lua Conjunction. Okay, so I casted my 4 there, just double my armor. I'll let you know if I have to use my ammo pad. I probably will at some point, just because this weapon has poor ammo economy.
Predictable. As expected, Grenier have shut down the environmental systems, sending modified life support capsules. Use these to sustain your environment or attach Kuva catalysts to begin harvesting.
Alright, so we want to get our Merciless stacks up, so we actually want to try to possibly kill some, like those little butcher guys, because they die pretty quickly. There we go. There's one butcher. So as you can see, that like this is why I switched out of viral. Like look at all these shots I'm putting into these guys, and there's like 0 statuses coming out. So that's why I switched away from viral, and I'm going to use the ammo pad right here. I switched away from viral just because, you know, it's not putting any statuses on. Like, if an entire magazine I could get like 2 or 3 viral procs, I would have been felt justified putting viral on. But like, you're not even getting that. You're getting like maybe a single random element. Well, a lot of people were like making jokes. They were like, you know, when you're doing the Stug video, and of course, like I don't. My plan was to not do weapons that are not steel path viable. Like this is not a steel path viable weapon. This is a absolute garbage tier weapon. I'm gonna run over to the life supports and hit like 1 or 2. But I recently hit 100 subscribers, so I was like, you know what? Maybe it'll be fun to do like a Stug video for 100 subscribers. All right, I'm going to go back and meet them kind of halfway, this group. So we're at 13 kills. I'm going to use another ammo pad here. The base status chance off the top of my head, 10%. 10% on explosion. So what happens is when you shoot at these enemies, it'll do 2 damage ticks that are really low damage. And then when it explodes, it does okay damage. I mean, by okay, you can kind of see what it looks like here. But so on explosion, it's 10% status chance. So this is actually doing worse than when I was testing. When I was testing, it was feeling a lot better. I don't know what's going on here. It's feeling a lot worse. You know, not that I expected this to do very well, but in my testing at this point, I was at like 50 kills. I'm at 18 right now. All right, I'm gonna go hit that life support. But if you if you look at the Stug though, it'll say 0 for status chance, and that's just a bug. It's actually 10%. It's just that they've never really fixed that. It just has sat at like 0% status for some reason. And in fact, when I was looking at it, it said at one time it was sitting at 0% crit chance too, and that's also not true. It's at 5. It's 5% critical. So I at least want to go until we get 1 Acolyte. So I'm hoping I don't run out of air initially. I want to get to 5 minutes, because at 5 minutes, if I run out of air, I could still stay in the mission with Inaros, just because he's got a lot of health regen. Okay, I'm going to use a ammo pad. Now it does have an explosion radius, so I'm trying to like get as many people in the goo bomb as possible. It's not a big explosion radius. You could put prime fulmination on, and it helps a bit. I just feel like the damage is already so poor. All right, so I got past 5 minutes. I wonder. I don't know if the Acolyte. Yeah, he is. Okay, he's still spawning the Acolyte. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, we're gonna fight an Acolyte with the Stug here. Who we got? We got Violence, it looks like. All right, let's do this. He's one of these red markers, probably this one right here. And we got to 5 minutes and 1 second. It would have auto aborted if it was under 5 minutes. So we got lucky there. All right, we're almost through his shields. I might also have to use some health packs. I'm going to throw a health pack down here, just because we're dealing with the no life support and the acolyte at the same time, so it's a little bit painful here. All right, I am going to use Gloom. Gloom's not going to affect weapon damage, but it's going to help me get my life back. So it's not going to be affecting any kind of damage I'm doing to the acolyte, so don't worry about that. And I normally wouldn't use it, but I want to fight the acolyte with this. All right, I'm going to cast an ammo pad. Yeah, I am Frost King. I am. I thought, so I hit like 100 subscribers recently, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a funny video with the Stug. Because I had said, I was like, I'm not going to do a non-Steel Path viable weapon. Like, the Stug was not going to be one of the weapons I was going to review. But I figured it would be a funny video for like the 100 subscriber kind of thing. And that I'm not going to be doing a Lua Conjunction after this, because this will not go anywhere in Lua Conjunction. There is 0 chance it gets past the 5-minute mark. All right, as you see, we've killed Violence there. Very efficient Acolyte killer. Probably one of the best in the game. We're going to be going to Extraction. And I'll go over the build one more time. Maybe you get better performance if you invested in 10% status? Maybe. Shit, maybe. When before I put like the Convulsion on it, where is this? Is it over here? Oh, it is here. Okay. Before I put Convulsion on it to make more corrosive, I had the 2 60/60 mods for viral. Yeah, 100%. It kills very fast. Very efficient Steel Path weapon right here. Hey, it killed an Acolyte. You know what? I think it killed an Acolyte more efficiently than it killed some of those trash mobs. I'm just saying. I think it's the corrosive on it. Okay, go back to Orbiter, and I'll go over the build one more time for anyone who would love to build this amazing Steel Path weapon. That's a joke, by the way. I don't want to mislead anyone into putting 9 Forma in a Stug. We got lucky on the time there, because if it would have self-aborted, I would have had to like do the video again to get to the Acolyte. Is the Stug the worst weapon in the game? Oh man, that's a good question. The Embolist is another stinker. The Embolist is another one. Like if I don't know like when I'll do these like shit weapon videos. Probably like at certain milestones, like maybe 100 or 200 subscribers. But I'll try to do like a shit weapon, like not a weak weapon, like a absolutely not Steel Path viable weapon. And if I remember correctly, the Embolist is another one. I haven't played with the MK1 Bratton since like the tutorial of the game. That's probably like another one that's really bad. Okay, so the Stug. It is a secondary glob launcher. It's a secondary glob launcher. It's going to do 2 instances of really poor tick damage, and then it'll explode after about, like, I think it's a second or a second and a half. And when it explodes, it does respectable damage. I mean, as in respectable, I mean horrible. But it does more damage when it explodes than the actual tick damage. Okay. Other thing about the Stug is that it has innate corrosive on it. And then the other quirky thing about the Stug is that the data sheet here is kind of wrong. So for a while, the crit chance said 0. It's now at 5, which is the correct number. And the status chance is supposed to be at 10%. It's not 0%. It just, for some reason, it said 0. So, okay. So we're going to be using Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Hornet Strike for flat damage, Magnum Force for flat damage, Primed Expel Grenier, which I don't usually use Bane mods, but I needed something for this to possibly kill some Greniers. But Primed Expel Grenier for multiplicative damage. So this this kind of damage gets added at the end of the equation, so it's a lot stronger. So like times 1.55, I'm not as great at math, but I think that means 55% more damage. Like if you look at Hornet Strike, it says plus 220%. Well, this is flat damage. So Prime Expel Grenier at plus 55% get damage to Grenier is actually much more of an effect than Hornet Strike, just because of how it's calculated. So Hornet Strike flat damage, Magnum Force flat damage. This one multiplicative damage. Lethal Torrent is going to be Fire Rate and multi-shot. We're going to go with Pistol Pestilence and Primed Convulsion to make corrosive, and I'll go over why I did that at the end. Primed Heated Charge for heat. And then I have Lethal Momentum for projectile speed because the projectiles are very slow, like very, very slow. But that is probably not the best choice. I just did not want to put 9 Formant into this, and so I left it at Lethal Momentum. Now, if you want a correct Stug build, which I think the correct Stug build is selling it from your inventory, but if you want a correct Stug build, it's going to be Prime Pistol Ammo Mutation for more ammo pickups, or Trick Mag just for more base ammo. Lethal Momentum will make it feel better, like, you know, you'll actually be hitting targets easier because you're not dealing with like ridiculous projectile speed. But you saw how weak the weapon was. Like, you're going to be using ammo pads all the time if you choose Lethal Momentum. And then in the Arcane slot, we're going to go with Secondary Merciless, just for a large 360% damage increase that we probably won't have full effect of all the time because it takes a long time to kill enemies. Now, the reason I went with... so this weapon already has innate corrosive. And so, you know, you might be like, well, why did he go with corrosive on the weapon if it's already got corrosive? And that's because of this mod right here, Prime Convulsion. This is a new mod that came out about like a month-ish ago. And I tested this weapon with Viral. I had Viral on here first. I had the 260-60 mods, so I even had a higher status chance of, you know. So this has such a low status chance at 10% that like 60% status chance is only bringing it to 15%. And then another 60-60 will bring it to like 20%. It's still really low. And so with those 260-60s, I was like dumping an entire mag of the Stug and maybe getting 1 viral proc. And because of that, I was like, it's probably not worth even like worrying about status. So I was like, let me find more flat damage, right? I mean, this flat damage, this flat damage, this is flat damage, this is multiplicative damage. Like, let's look for more flat damage. Bam, Prime Heated Charge, that's 165, that's more flat damage. And then this mod came out like a month ago, and I was like, man, that's another 165 flat damage. And I mean, honestly, this probably should be the 90 mod instead of the 60-60, just for more flat damage. I just didn't want to have to reform it. But yeah, this is the Stug build. That's how you build it. But I think the correct way to play the Stug is to level it to 30, get your mastery out of it, and then sell it. Or you can kind of meme with it too. You know, you can increase the fire rate, increase the mag size, and then you could just glob your friends with it, because you could actually glob friendlies with it. So that's how I like to play the Stug. I have like kind of a meme setup. I got out of my meme setup to use this one here, but I have like kind of a meme setup where it's fire rate, mag size, and I think multi-shot for more globs. And I'll just glob the shit out of people during missions. You know, I'll of course have like a real serious weapon like in my primary slot, but this is kind of like my little meme weapon. So yeah, this is the 100 subscriber video. I really appreciate you guys watching and supporting me. I started pretty recently ago. I only started like a month ago, and it was kind of like my resolution, my New Year's resolution, even though that kind of sounds corny, to start streaming. I've always wanted to do it. I was just kind of like shy about it. So, but I appreciate the support. Thank you so much, guys. If you liked it on YouTube, give it a like, and I appreciate it. Have a good day, guys.